Yeah, we're live. Hi, guys.
Enjoying the healing benefits of water. Spa World has everything we humans need to do the same. From swim spas to spas and saunas to shade. Visit your Spa World showroom for our latest sales.
What do you want to be when you grow up? With ease, expertise, and great value. Know how to grow with UniSuper.
The Harbinger hasn't stopped in its message, in its revelation, and its warning. God often uses visuals and symbols and images to communicate
Diane,
prophetic
good to
truth.
see ya.
So this is a whole new way of coming out. They have no immunity against the Harbinger. The same God who moved in the Bible is alive and well and moving now in America, and we're in it. But this is a wake-up call, and God used this. This is really God's message to wake up a nation, wake up people.
Well, Johnathon Cahn, it's a privilege to be able to talk to you about this powerful adaptation.
Did we, Diane? Where at? It wasn't on the news as far as I know.
Or not even an adaptation. It's the full Harbinger.
6.2, that's pretty high for Australia. We rarely get them that high.
Novel, but put as a graphic novel. And we're excited to partner with you at Charisma to be able to turn this powerful message into a new way of getting it out there. So it's great to be able to have you here to talk about this.
Always great to be here, John. Always great, and we're excited about this new thing.
Yeah. So the Harbinger the book has been around for a while now, and it has been the thing that prophetically God gave you, and there's so many stories with that. We're going to dive into.
The Harbinger is one of the reasons I come to Christ, because Johnathon Cahn puts that so well together. It could only have came from God, and that's his testimony is part of my testimony.
Some of that a little bit, but when you look at this graphic novel and you look at where God has taken you from with the original inspiration for this, and as you were diving into that, tell me about some of the things that stand out to you with the graphical depiction of the Harbinger.
Like what's different or what's striking. Well, first of all, it's exciting. It's something that, I mean, like as soon as I see it, you want to read it. And I've said, you probably heard me say this, that I right now have one copy of it, and I have to hide it in my house because my sons want it. Everybody wants it. It's exciting because, first of all, I think there's a reason why the Lord would have this now. The timing of it's got to be the Lord, that he knows what's coming. The Harbinger hasn't stopped in its message, in its revelation, and its warning. So this is a whole new way of coming out. The Harbinger involves graphic, involves images, involves visuals, and so this is putting that in that form. God often uses visuals and symbols and images to communicate prophetic truth. So it's like a prophetic tool. So this is the Harbinger. For those who don't know, this is a graphic novel. Graphic novel, many people know, but there are people who are watching may not know what a graphic novel is. Graphic novel is, I mean, it may look like a comic book, but it's a full book.
Right.
But it's in every page is, the Harbinger is translated into the book. It's the whole Harbinger. All the major things are in this book, but you see it. It's easy to read. You see it. You see the prophet. You see the Noriel. You see the you see the seals. You see the harbingers, which is really a powerful thing. It's an exciting thing that I think I believe can reach, not only will reach people who have read the Harbinger and want to see that, but also and Christians who know of the Harbinger, but of those who don't know the Harbinger, and those who are not saved, and those who are not readers, and those of the younger generation. It's not just for the young, but it is it can reach the young. It can reach people who are readers and who are not readers. And I believe that people give this to, when they give it to their people in their life, whether they need to know the Lord or they need to be awakened. they'll read it.
Yeah.
They will read it because it's easy and it's immediately rewarding. You're seeing all the stuff you're seeing. It's I believe it's going to be a great blessing.
Yeah, I know. I've read it already. I haven't read the whole thing. I've looked through it, and I'm just drawn in by the graphical depictions of the harbingers and all the coins and just the prophetic meanings with that. It's actually like, oh, I can see this, and it's paralleled. The modern and the ancient.
Yeah.
This space heater is being called the Tesla of heaters. It can warm up a freezing cold room from 7 degrees to 20 degrees in minutes without installations and expensive electricity bills. This powerful heater was created by Mike Saunders and Robert Jones.
One of the things I want to dive into right now is the fact that you wrote the Harbinger book years ago, but then God had you rewrite it and change the way that you were actually communicating that. And if that wouldn't have happened, we would not be able to have this Harbinger graphic novel. Can you explain what God did with that?
Yeah, originally I wrote the Harbinger straight out as nonfiction. It's the revelation of it. And then when I finished it, the Lord really led me in one day, one afternoon, said, you have to rewrite the whole thing, rewrite it with a story, as a story. Tell the truth, reveal the revelations, tell the prophetic truth, but use a story to do it as a vehicle, as a vessel. And so it was as I got that, I remember this because my wife was away, and by the time she got home, I had the whole story. Like, I think
God bless him, Diane. Good on him.
it was in 2 hours. I just saw the whole story. And I saw the seals, I saw the prophet, I saw.
This was like a vision.
Well, sort of. I mean, in my mind's eye, but I saw it. And I saw them walking through New York City and revealing the different things. I saw it all at once. And then when I wrote it, because the Lord uses parables, He uses stories to tell truth. So it's all true, but the story is a vehicle to tell the truth. So when I started writing it that way, it was the easiest thing I ever did. It was far easier than when I wrote it the first time. It was easy. When I spoke the prophet's words, they just flowed onto the page. So pages every time I sat down. It was the easiest thing. So it just flowed, and I knew that was the Lord. So yeah, because it was done in a story form, now it can be this, with picture, with all sorts of, they're in New York City. There's all sorts of visuals, and so that lends itself to that. It also lends itself to things like movies, and all that. And so I believe this all lead to that too. And the other thing is that also when people see it, there's certain things that I could not have done in a book that you'll see the ancient harbinger that appeared in the last days of ancient Israel and the reappearance of that harbinger in modern America side by side visually. So you're going to see it. You see how they match up. It's a very powerful thing. So it's a real powerful tool.
Yeah, it really is. And I love the message and how God speaks to you through prophetic parallels and prophetic just paradigms. I know that's been another book of yours that I really
Diane, what do they mean, bard? I don't understand.
enjoyed. But when you look at this and you see this visually depicted for yourself, I mean, how close is this to what God was showing you that day?
It's very close. I mean, I was amazed at the artist. I don't really know him, but we were involved with it, and we saw the penciled pictures, and we said, okay. In some cases, we said, okay, no, you got to make it more, because there are actual places, the Empire State Building, the New York Public Library, the Lincoln Memorial, and then there's the seals that are also, that way. So, we went through that, but nevertheless, I was surprised. I mean,
I just looked at that. I'm surprised he's not singing, Di.
How accurate this is to the places and to what I envisioned. What I envisioned in that. So pretty amazing. Amazing. It's very much so. I mean, I don't know what the parameters are, like how much it could have been this way or that way, but it is. I did have, special input in how the characters look. We took more time on that once we got that down, but I'm amazed by it.
Yeah. So
This powerful heater can heat up any room in seconds without the high electricity costs. Electricity suppliers don't want you to know about this.
I think I know this story a little bit. I want you to share this because there's you look at the prophet in this, and in my opinion, it looks very much like you, dressed in all black with a beard, maybe just a younger version of her prophet based off of about whenever you wrote the Harbinger. But I know that you were actually a featured character in a comic book, and so now things are kind of coming full circle. I guess.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
Very strange. Yes, this is first of all, yes, it turns out I appeared I am in a Marvel comic. I am in a Spider-Man comic, comic book. And I appear, there's two full pages where I'm there. And the amazing, I mean, on top of this, I'll tell you, the day that I found it came out, and I went to the store. I hadn't been to a comic store, and I got it. That day was the day that the Lord had told me, you have to rewrite the Harbinger with a story, with a narrative. That was the same day, and it had nothing to do with each other. It was the same day, and in the I think about it now, and in the comic book, the Marvel comic book, I am depicted as interviewing. I'm a television guy interviewing a man who just wrote a book that just became a bestseller on Amazon. And so I'm interviewing the author as I'm reading. And so in a sense, it
Diane, I wonder if he cries
was split.
like Stan did the other day. Stan was genuine, but I wonder if Paul wouldn't do that. He's too proud.
Me up because I'm going to write a book. So I was more like the author, but it's me as the interviewer. And then I didn't plan it this way, but it turns out I realized it afterwards. The Harbinger, what I did, that's exactly what happened. Here you have I'm telling a story, but I'm split up into the prophet and Noriel. You're telling a story, fictional, telling a story, a real thing, but story. I'm a real person, but I was split up in Marvel comics. And it did become a bestseller. It was like a prophetic thing, and then so it happened on that day that it was translated. Began the translation. It had nothing to do with it. And now it's become a graphic novel like that. And yeah, the prophet, I wanted to make sure he looked Jewish, had to have a beard, and he didn't want to. I wanted him to he could blend into New York City. And so I always pictured him with a cloak, and I don't know that his face has different things, but if you look at the overall or look from a distance or occasional pictures, you can say, okay, that's the Jonathan Cahn look. But it wasn't the inspiration. But it wasn't planned. It was the face is actually different, but So it came amazing. That's how it is, and I still have that at home somewhere. I have that Marvel.
So did somebody come to you and say, I want to use your likeness in a comic book, and that's how that came about?
Someone came to the Lord, and they were at our congregation, and they were one of the main artists for Marvel. So I don't think he asked me. I think he just did it, and then he told me, and so he did it with me, me in Marvel, in Spider-Man.
So I know that there's a scene in the Harbinger, which is also depicted in a Harbinger graphic novel, that you wrote about this, and then it actually came to life in your own life. Let's talk about that, because that is a powerful, powerful story of how God used this as a prophetic seal in your own life.
Yeah, I had finished the Harbinger now. Now I wrote it in this form, and there were people telling me, there was no publisher or anything, and so saying, well, if you want to get it published, you got to brand yourself. People know you in the Messianic world, but they don't know you in the publishing world. You got to brand. I'm not branding myself, And I was kind of grieved by all this stuff. That's not the way it's going to go. So that same week that I finished it, and I was told these things, I was to go to speak at Promise Keepers in Dallas, Texas, and the plane stopped in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I bowed my head. It was early in the morning, and I said, Lord. I said, I'm not doing what they are telling me to do. The Harbinger is yours. You know how to get messages. You've got messages out before. You know how to get messages out. You don't need an agent. You don't need anything. So just do it your way. I opened up my eyes and
I felt sorry for Stan too, Di. He was genuine, wasn't he? And he doesn't charge anyone for anything. Paul gets on there and just flogs his. He had one the other day, Passover donation or something like that. He's such a fraud.
There's a man sitting to my left, and he turns to me and he says, "So what's the good word?" I said, "God loves you." He says, "I know that, but what's the good word?" I'm thinking, this is weird. So I'm talking to him, I'm witnessing to him, and I'm talking to, and until I realize he's trying to get me saved while I'm trying to get him saved. And then he says, "Jonathan, you've written a book. This book is of God, and God is going to take the book and he's going to spread it across America, across the world." He said, "You've done a lot, but it's nothing compared to what you're going to do." He said, "You've been known, but it's nothing compared to how you're going to be known. It's like you're going to suddenly be known." He starts handing me $100 bills and says, "God is going to multiply your outreach by 100 times over." And it turned now the thing is, there was a Super Bowl game, and it's famous. It's like considered the most famous catch in Super Bowl history.
Right.
The helmet catch, David Tyree. People don't know David Tyree is a born again believer, and he was praying to the Lord, "I want to be used to the Lord. I want to be used to spread the gospel." And before he went into the game, a man gave him a prophetic word, telling him that something was going to happen. God's going to have it cause to happen to put you in the spotlight, and you're going to glorify God. Well, he was the whole game. He's saying, "Is that it?" And he knew it was going to be a catch. It happened. It was the helmet catch on his helmet. He became famous from that. He wrote a book glorifying God, mentioned the guy's name who gave him the prophecy. It was published by Charisma. So that put that guy in touch with Charisma and the president, Steve Strang. The guy who gave him that word for the Super Bowl is the guy sitting next to me at the airport.
Right.
And so because
I might put it on now, Di. Hang on, I'll do it after this.
of that, because of how God works all things together, that catch, and you can look at it in slow-mo, how a million different details had to be in the exact spot for that thing to happen. The guy, Eli Manning, was almost tackled.
Right.
He grabbed the head.
Diane, it goes for 15 minutes. I don't think I could cop 15 minutes of him begging for money.
Sure, slips away, just throws it out there, ends up happening. And because of that I get a email or I get a message from Steve Strang, the president of Charisma, who says, "We heard about what happened at the airport. We heard about this thing called the Harbinger. We have no idea what it is, but we're interested."
Yeah.
And that is how the Harbinger went forth to the world by the hand of God. And because of that Super Bowl catch. And the thing is that in the book, that things start really rolling when the prophet, the man Noriel, sits down in a public place. To his left sits down the prophet. The prophet turns to him, starts talking to him, making small talk, then gives him a prophetic word that he's called ultimately in the book to write a book that's going to bring a prophetic word and warning to America, which is the message of the Harbinger. So that God recreated that scene from the book that I just wrote in that airport, where he sits down to me, to my left, starts making this talk with me, then gives me a prophetic word about bringing a book to America. And so God used the book to make the book become a book.
I love that story. I know that gentleman as well. Hubie Sin is a powerful man of God, very humble, and he's just used by God in very unique ways. He's almost stealth about how God uses him sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that he was obedient to.
This powerful heater can heat up any room in seconds without the high electricity costs. Electricity suppliers don't want you to know about this.
To give you that encouragement and how God brought all that together.
Amazing. I mean, that's God. I mean, and the amazing thing is that I just prayed that prayer. Lord, you do, but I prayed that prayer. And as soon as I opened my eyes, God answered it and then made it a book.
So Jonathan, I thank you for sharing that story. That is powerful. And I know that this whole Harbinger and even the Harbinger graphic novel has come together as a prophetic word from the Lord. When you look at this now, what are you hoping, or what are you expecting or believing God to do with the Harbinger graphic novel as it goes out to the world?
Well, the purpose for this is, aside from blessing believers who know the Harbinger and they're going to see it, and in this whole new form, and its explosion. By the way, Stephen Strang, the president of Charisma, said he looked at it and he's seeing things in it that he never saw, and he published it. I'm looking at it, I'm seeing things I never saw, and I wrote it. So it's something about when it appears in a visual form, your mind receives it in a different way, and so it's amazing. So for them, for believers, but also that believers can use this as a means to reach people in their life as a gift.
Diane, Diane, there is no way I'd give people like Paul Begley money. If I had the ability, I've got the ability, but it's too much of a hassle to send Stan some money, being in Australia. So yeah.
Give it to people, people who are.
With Begley, I wouldn't give him money if he lived next door.
Not just young, but the young are much more this way. So to reach this generation, give it to your children, give it to younger people in your life, but also people who don't normally read books or may not invest to read a Christian book, and who might not do, but they'll read this. When you give it to them, they'll read this. They'll get it this way. So it's another way of reaching them. People, and also believers who may be kind of asleep or they're not really on fire, like, well, this is real, or people, there are people who have family members who go to church, but all right, yeah, I've heard that, but this is a wake-up call. And God used this is really God's message to wake up a nation, wake up people. And so in this form, it's a new way to reach them. And also the other thing is, I've mentioned that there are a lot of people saved or unsaved. Let's say the unsaved, they have resistance. They have some immunity to the gospel. Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I'm supposed to get saved. Jesus, but they have no immunity against the harbinger because they're not prepared for it. It's coming out of the blue, and it's showing how real the God of the Bible is actually real now. And it's not a matter of feeling, oh, that's some Christian thing. It's like, wait, this really happened? Whoa, the God is real. The same God who moved in the Bible is alive and well and moving now in America, and we're in it. What are we going to do? And the final thing is like, if we are in it, so you better get right with God. So it leads to salvation right in the book, as the original harbinger did, but now it's in visual form. There's a call leading to salvation, and it's a charge to what we need to do now for revival.
Amen. Amen. Well, I'm excited that this graphic novel is going to get out into the world. And I want to encourage everybody right now and get your own copy of the Harbinger graphic novel.
Hola, soy Dora. Floaty, floaty, floaty.
This is where the person and the role of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the revealer of that which is hidden. So the church now needs to begin to say, how can we use AI as a way to reach this present generation? Because here's what the church doesn't realize.
Okay, that was it.
In the last days of ancient Israel, when God was calling it back, trying to, they knew God, they fell away from God. He's calling them, warning them, trying to shake them back. Finally, he allows something to happen. And there are 9 harbingers or prophetic signs, warning them, but calling them back. 9 prophetic signs that appear in the land. They ignore them, they reject them, and they end up years later, they head to destruction, to judgment. Here's the thing. The same 9 harbingers have now appeared on American soil. In the last moments of 9/11, the tower comes down, sends forth a beam, strikes an object. The object is a tree. The object is the sycamore tree. The sycamore is struck down on ground zero, and they make it a whole big thing, the sycamore ground zero, having no idea what it means. And then it says, but the people of ancient Israel, they said, okay, we took this other tree, it's called the Erez tree. It's translated as a cedar, but Erez tree. They took it and they planted it strong, saying, we're coming back strong. Well, a little while later, a tree appears over the sky of ground zero, and it's coming down, and they're lowering it into the place where the sycamore was struck down. The tree that they are planting is a biblical Erez tree, the exact tree of Isaiah. They're doing the exact same thing. They have no idea what they're doing, no idea what they're doing, no idea, and it's all unfolding. And here's another thing. Now, day after 9/11, America gives its response to 9/11. And the government meets on the Capitol Hill, and the guy who's in charge is the Senate Majority Leader, Tom Daschle. He gives the response. At the end of his speech to the world, he says, there is a scripture from Isaiah that speaks to us now. And out of his mouth, he says, the bricks have fallen, We will rebuild with you. And so the sycamore, he's naming it. He has no idea what he's doing. He's identifying America as the nation that is fallen from God, that God is trying to warn, and what happened, he has no idea. And he mentions the tree just that day it's being discovered. He mentions the other tree is going to replace it. That's going to happen later. He's prophesying, all happening, and he has no. And he said this. He speaks. He says, "This is what we will do." Now the thing is, there's so much. I'm just giving you a taste, but so much. And the thing is that this is God has spoken, and we are still on this path.
Where do you think we are now? What harbinger are we at right now? Because it seems like we're in a grace period right now.
Yeah. Well, one of the okay, that's part of it. Because one of the things happens is that when God first warns a nation like this, he then gives a grace period of time. He gives a window of time. The window of time, we can't say how long that is. You know, in case of in Israel, there are prophets who gave warnings, and sometimes it was going to happen right after.
And Trump didn't end up being that window of time because he's not bringing peace to America. He's dividing America.
With Jonah, 40 days. You know, other prophets, it was decades. But the point is, we're in that period. It's where the nation is given the chance to come back to God or to go off to judgment, increase shakings and judgment and fall.
Your ministry has been such a blessing to us, starting with the Harbinger, which kind of shook the nation at its core, and it became a bestseller very, very quickly. And now it's becoming this full-color graphic novel with stunning prophetic artwork. It is absolutely amazing. But since 2012, what harbingers are you seeing manifest in America? What are you?
Great question.
Well, the harbinger, it has not stopped. You know, the message, the warning, the revelation has not stopped. A few things. First of all, there are things that have happened after I finished the book. You know, for instance, that tree, which is supposed to represent America coming back stronger. That tree has been withering away, and it's another sign of biblical judgment. Withering, and with the tree of hope, the tree of America, withering. And they tried to save it. They did everything they could to save. They replaced the soil, did everything. No matter what they did, it withered away. Finally, they destroyed. It fell. It was struck down on a Hebrew holy day. And so here's one of the harbingers there. So things are happening continuously.
In your times of prayer, has the Lord shown you what the turning point of America could look like?
Yeah, I believe it could look like that. It could look like first of all, in Nineveh, the king from the top down to the animals. He said, revival can happen from the bottom up and the top down as well. But I believe the Lord can use, number one, leaders, but a time of proclaiming, of turning back, of return back to the Lord. So that was one way that can look. At the same time, revival can break out in different ways. But I believe that we are at such a point that there has to be some kind of national turning, not just a nice movement, great, not this there, but there has to be a turning. Without, after 9/11, everybody was flocking to churches. And it looked like there would be revival. It was amazing for 3 weeks, but then it ended. There was no repentance. There was no turning. And without repentance, you cannot have revival. Right. If you don't turn now, you're not going to turn the outcome. So instead of getting better from 9/11, we got worse. Everything's happening exactly. So I think it has a real potential to touch and impact those people in our lives.
I think of it as like even a tool of evangelism. If you really think about it, it's like, wow, like prophecy is one of these signs. What is it? 1 Corinthians 14 talks about if everyone's prophesying among you, they'll declare that God's among you. This is prophecy. And what a wonderful way, like, whoa, this is happening, how everything's tied together. It gives people, for me, when I look at this, I think of wake up call.
Yes.
Like God's real, wake up call.
Yeah, exactly. Our prayers are more crucial than ever. It is so crucial. It's not about more crucial than elections, more crucial than I've literally seen history change more than once because of the prayers of God's people. It wasn't arms, it wasn't money, it wasn't powers, it was the prayers of God's people. It's true. And so our prayers are more important than ever, and more important.
Oh, we should give an example of that.
That also that we become those people of prayer.
Hey, boss, good to see you, bro.
Because the times are such that in order to stand, and what's coming, in order to stand, we have to be more rooted and grounded than we have ever been in the presence of God, in the Word, in prayer, in the presence of God.
Yeah.
That's going to be our standard. That's going to be our rock.
When those revelations and the dots get connected, what is your normal response? You're like, oh my Lord. I know that's how I respond when a revelation comes and the dots are connected.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's like, wow, Lord, you're like, oh, you did it again. Like on one hand, I'm not surprised that he did it again because he does it again.
Right.
But the thing is, I'm still overwhelmed. I'm the first person to be blown away. So yeah, it's that. Wow, Lord. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Wow. So here we are many years later, and all of the books that the Lord has given you have become a New York Times bestseller, which we're excited about that. What has been the response that has really ministered to you the most in regards to any of your books that has actually touched someone or touched a group of people that you can say, oh, wow, and then realize that this book was initially going to reach this particular group of people, and you're like, wow, God, you're involved in this.
The whole thing, it's an amazing story. But I open up my eyes, and there's a man sitting next to me in the airport. He turns to me and he says, so what's the good word? I said, what's the good word? I said, God loves you. And he says, I know that, but what's the good word? So I'm sharing with him to try to win him to the Lord until I realize he's trying to win me to the Lord. And then he turns to me and he says, Jonathan, you wrote a book. This book is of God, and God is going to take that book and he's going to spread it throughout America and the world. Wow. He says, you've been known, but nothing compared to what's going to happen. You've done things, nothing compared to what it's going to be now. He starts handing me $100 bills, saying God's going to multiply your reach of your ministry 100 times over. He said, and the thing is that he prophesies this whole thing. And in the book, in the story, and you'll see it in the original. It kind of gets going when Noriel, the guy, sits down, and next to him, to his left, is the prophet who turned.
Noriel ends in Riel. All the angels like Michael, Raphael. That's interesting. What was the name of that angel?
Of your ministry 100 times over. He said, and the thing is that he prophesies this whole thing. And in the book, in the story, and you'll see it in the original. It kind of gets going when Noriel, the guy.
Noriel. Wow, that's an angel's name.
Sits down, and next to him, to his left, is the prophet who turns to him and starts making a conversation.
Yeah, Vars, my family's going great. Mum's better.
With him, that then he gives him a prophetic word that leads him to write a book that's going to bring a word, a prophetic word. So God,
based on real events, based on what happened at the airport.
No. The real event was based on the book. God recreated what I wrote in the book, and he made it real. and he used it. He recreated what was in the book.
Instead of the opposite.
I just wrote it, and he did it.
I got saved in prison, and what reached me in prison, believe it or not, were evangelistic comic books telling the story. I don't mind saying this. Chick public.
Okay, in Australia or New South Wales at least, the jails have church, but it's only a place to go for a cup of tea and biscuits. There's no really good sermons or pastors in there.
It was chick publications. So when I saw that,
and if they do, they just do the boring topics like Joel Osteen does.
Yes, I had a moment of saying, wow, here is a newer version of an evangelistic tool that can reach. I didn't read no Bible. I was not into church, but I had time, and I was interested in comics at the time. What do you hope the Lord would do with the Harbinger graphic novel and reaching the unlost, or reaching those who might not necessarily? I could easily see this.
Well, Diane, about Dr. Fraud, they're going to hold him accountable. I can't believe this. Yet it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see.
Going into prisons, going into mental institutions, going into hospitals, going into places where people can't necessarily come to church and might not necessarily even know how to really read, but they'll read enough. Well, did you have that in mind when this was being created?
Well,
Diane, I've got a video called, his name's JW. We've seen him before. And he's saying they're dumping things out of the sky, like fogs and all that. So he's done an update, and I'm going to show that after this now.
Well, that was one of the missions of this. Yeah, one of the purpose of this to reach people we could never reach before. And listen, and here the thing about this thing is that you'll reach the people who will not be reached by a regular book. And you go to the one-year Bible and you look up that vow, that harbinger scripture of defiance, talking about that attack, the strike on the land, the bricks of on the strike on the land, the first sign of judgment. You'll see on the top there's a date. It says September 11th. Virtually every time a book came out, on the day it came out, all hell broke loose. And what for harbinger? Hurricane comes to our building, floods our ministry with 4 feet of water. We didn't have a place. Well, as the harbinger's coming out, we didn't have a place for. I mean, we were on the road. Right. We didn't have our building for months. When we got back, when another book came out. As it comes out, it's like strikes the clock. It's midnight, and all of a sudden I can barely move. I mean, what's going on? I had a mysterious infection that paralyzed me. I was in the hospital for that week. I've never been in the hospital like for any period of time. On the day of the release, another book released on the day of the release. I said, "What's that? That's crazy." My appendix burst on that day. I'm in the hospital for another week. And on and on and on. So yes, and when I started doing the Dragon's Prophecy, okay, the last one, not when it came out, I'm writing about how the dragon spewed that flood against Israel, okay, against the woman, And our ministry is called Beth Israel, and we're at that building's called the Jerusalem Center. It looks like Jerusalem. And so as I'm writing about the flood, a flood comes against our building. We need a boat to get to our building, to get to the services, to get to the building. It's cut off. The road's cut off. Okay, finally it goes down. It was a storm. Finally it goes down. The next day, a second flood comes, and there was no storm. A freak accident, a freak water line broke.
Thus, in Donald Trump's first term, I'm pretty sure he redone Gitmo. He put more cells than that in there. I'm pretty sure that happened.
Only on our street, and it's the same exact flood. Finally, it goes down. A third flood comes, and I'm writing this, and I'm saying I better get past this. I got to get past this chapter, except the future. I got earthquakes. I said, forget that whole thing. I'm not doing that. But it says the enemy also comes in like a thief. While we're having the flood, thieves break in at the same moment. But God calls a cleaning person to come early.
Where in the heart?
In our floods up north late last month, people got caught for what do they call it when they break into a house? Looting. People got caught for looting the houses. They flooded houses up to your waist in mud, and these guys are going in and stealing your stuff. Geez, they're going to get a big whack in jail.
Harbinger prophecy.
I brought that up because he just brought something similar up.
Did you know?
Hey, Trace, good to see you.
Lock when they shut, so you could protect your garage with one of these, or you could just get a B&D garage door, because when a B&D door is shut, it can be locked shut. Is your garage as safe as can B&D?
One of the reasons we didn't go with technology early on was in a regional area, we didn't have a good connection. We couldn't upload and download information reliably.
Which meant that a fiber technology was the solution to help them overcome that.
With the Bankwest multi-use virtual card, you can set a spending limit, which means less time worrying about going over budget and more time for you things.
Would 2020 have fallen? And COVID and all of that, because there's no doubt it had a great play in this.
Okay, wow. All right. This is good. I'm with you.
Okay, I've never heard Johnathon Cahn address COVID before, so let's hear what he's got to say.
Touching different. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote.
I just make questions up, brother.
No, that's okay. That's right. It actually. Okay. I wrote the Harbinger because the Harbinger is continuing. We call the Harbinger 2. And here's the thing. Okay. Interesting. When first strike came on Israel, on Judah now. There's two. There's Israel and Judah. When the first strike came on Judah, it was 19 years before a greater shaking came upon the whole land. Okay, it's 19 years.
Why 19?
2001. What's the 19th year? 2020.
Wow.
2020. a massive shaking comes on, and the shaking that Jeremiah describes in the 19th year involves a plague as well. A plague.
Wow.
Here's another thing. You have the
guys, he's got to get this stuff directly from God or the Holy Ghost. He can't just sit there and think this up. He does stunning stuff like this.
History of the Jubilee, okay? And there's so much to this, but this is why we have never, by the way, I've done all these interviews and they're all great, and this is one of them. Never touched so many books as only as this one. So there's something. So this one, the Jubilee mystery, actually God created, when he brought back Israel, he did it according to this mystery of the Jubilee. Every 50 years, it's a gigantic prophetic event. I shared about it in a book called The Oracle, but it's amazing. But here's the other side of it. Here's the judgment side. We, as a nation, when Jeremiah said that shaking was coming in the 19th year, it was linked to what they did to their children. When it says they offered up their children in the valley of Hinnom.
Yep.
He says, now for the blood that you offered up, the blood is going to come back to you now. And the thing is, we, America, started offering up the blood of our children. The year was 1970. Roe versus Wade was to the whole thing. 1970 it started. What's the 50th year? 2020. You know the actual date that abortion on demand first surfaced to pass in our legislatures. It happened, if you count 50 years, it's the exact day that COVID came to America officially.
Wow.
To the day. The day that we actually first practiced abortion, okay, which was I believe March 11th of 1970. You take 50 years, and that's the day when they say that's the day that changed everything. That's the day when everything shut down, everything, state of emergency, all that stuff. They call it the day changed everything. Every single thing. In fact, let me give you another one. And there's so much, but another one. That is that in the years from we started abortion until Roe versus Wade became the law of the land. That was 3 years. Okay, how many children were killed? It was 1.3 million. In the years of COVID, it was also like a 3-year period, exactly 50 years each time. How many Americans died? 1.3 million. In fact, I want to go into this so much, and this is in the Harbinger too. But it is as you said, it's a continuation.
Yeah.
It goes from even exactly where abortion came in. That's exactly where the plague came in. The exact city, the exact place, the exact state. It happened. Everything happened exactly.
Nah, he's not an insider. Johnathon Cahn's not an insider. I wouldn't say that. I'd say Steve Chiacolani's a bit of an insider, but I don't think Johnathon Cahn is.
Where, the place, and the time. Wow. Exactly. I mean, amazing. And at the same time, also though, God reversed Roe versus Wade about in the 50th year of Roe versus Wade when it began. It's the whole thing. So there's so much. I mean, yeah. But you're absolutely right. And you're the only one who asked that.
That is powerful. Something else comes up. Even your terminology is very unusual. The words that you use. Now, I really believe that words are very powerful.
Yes, yeah.
And God can give you a very unique word.
Yeah.
Being in the prophetic, I sometimes hear words that I have to look up the definition of the word.
Yes.
And because I don't really understand the word. So explain this word harbinger and how that word came to you. When all this began to come together, how did you feel? How did you react?
Great question. Great question.
Blown away, blown away, overwhelmed, blown away. I mean, when one thing comes, it's like, wow. But when everything comes, blown away. I remember, I was engaged to be married at the time. But my wife, the one who was going to be my wife, was supposed to be at Ground Zero at that morning, at that time. Last minute, her plans were changed, and that happened to all sorts of people in our congregation. But the thing is that we were planning our wedding, and all these things were coming to me, and I'm just blown away. Just like, what's going on? What's happening? Blown away, because God is amazing, and God does show, and it doesn't stop, and it's like, Lord, wow, and even His grace to show it.
Sometimes when God shows all these things, if we don't have eyes to see it, we can miss it, even though it's right in front of us. And I'm thinking of even Israel, when God said they have eyes to see, but they can't see. They have ears to hear, but they can't hear, because they close their eyes and they close their ears. They don't want to hear it. So I think the danger is that it can be evident, but if you don't want to see it, and if you don't want to hear it, America needs to be careful. If you don't want to see it and you close your eyes, and you don't want to hear it, then you shut yourself off from the very salvation and deliverance that God wants to bring.
I'm excited because people pray, I wish I lived in biblical times. Congratulations. We're in biblical times right now. And God is moving. You're still married, and we're still, on one hand, we're all single to God, and we're also all married to God, no matter what it is. And you can be blessed. There are benefits of both. Paul was single. John the Baptist was single. A lot of the people, great people of God, were single. So they're used to that. You want his best no matter what. And in order to have his best, you got to be willing to have, Lord, I'm okay either way. And that's when that came with me. Now, you don't want to say, okay, I'm okay now, so quickly bring that person. You have to be truly okay. If you're true, you have to be okay either way because it's God. If we're putting God first in our life, if there's not an idol, then it has to be okay. Marriage can't be an idol. And then you're more likely, you're going to be more open if there is something of God to see it. If you're so wrapped up in something, it's very hard to see what God has. And the other thing is that you can also fool yourself as well. The enemy can get in there, and people also, I was a single pastor, so there were like 100 women who all heard from God that they were supposed to marry me, and they had it convinced themselves of it, but that's not God. All you're doing is putting, you got to guard your emotions, guard your desires, because the only way you can have God's best, if you put him first over desires, then you will have his best, and there's nothing better than that, whatever it is. Beware, be careful. Most people who go around pushing themselves as prophets are not prophets, or they wouldn't do it. Jeremiah didn't go around saying, "Hey, the prophet Jeremiah Ministries didn't do that." None of them did. None of them did. They were number one. They were humble. They were seeking to do God, or they were dealing with it, but they weren't. Again, it's human nature to lift yourself up. Right. So and if someone's truly of the Lord, they're not going to be doing that, or God's going to disqualify them if they start doing that. So be very careful. And the other thing is that don't accept somebody just because they said it, and don't accept just because somebody says, "Thus says the Lord." Now, whether they call themselves a prophet or whether they're in your church, they say, "Thus saith the Lord." The Lord said, it doesn't mean that the Lord said it. It's much easier to say, "Thus saith the Lord," than for the Lord to say it. The Lord saying it is a jewel. If it's God, cling to it, hold on to it, test all things, hold on to what is good. But if it's of God.
And Vas, when the Holy Spirit talks to you, you can't help but say, wow. As Johnathon Cahn first got his harbinger, he was saying how amazing it was and all that. That's what it's like. When you see, like my Aussie code, when you see something that pans out right and you know it's from God, it really is humbling. It really is.
Awesome. I'm total. When God says something, yeah. But most of what, it's much easier to make imitations and counterfeits than the real diamond. And so God honors his word. And he said, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, I'll hear from heaven." And he did. And I've seen Katie, I've seen God change the course of America 3 times. That was the third. But where it was a gathering. It was a Second Chronicle. It was in God, and I could, but I want
to tell us what were the first 2.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Let's hear the whole history of these breakthroughs.
All right. We're just going by the Spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to take us back to last year to probably what I would consider one of the most pivotal events in political history in the United States and even in my own life. And that's October the 12th, the Million Woman March at the mall in DC.
At the White House, Trump is standing there with Amy Barrett at his side. Amy Barrett is going to be the one vote that overturns Roe versus Wade. It was that day that he set in motion the overturning of Roe versus Wade. That day and that hour and that minute. And when I looked,
it was the 7th Trump, and I've heard this one before. Pretty amazing, though.
I looked on the videotape. When I said go, it was 5 o'clock, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Trump opens his mouth to begin the overturning of Roe versus Wade at 5 o'clock, 4 minutes and the 33 seconds. The exact same second overturns the beginning of Roe versus Wade, which is what we're praying for. And we're praying for. And the thing is, and here's the other thing. There's a little. I said, God, you're amazing. Like you so how did you do that? Because if any preacher was one second too long or 1 second too short, never happened. So I said, amazing. I said, but God, you could have done something better.
That's what I think. Does he know he's doing it? Yeah, good question.
I'm correcting God now. I said, Lord, you said there were, there were 6 trumpets. There should have been 7. With Jericho, Revelation, 7 trumpets. And then it's like the Lord said, what's the name of your president? Trump.
Oh, not
He
even.
was the 7th trump.
Oh, wow.
Trumpet. When I said go, let the trumpet sound, the trump opened his mouth and began the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty
The
cool.
book that shook a nation.
That one's over. That's pretty cool, that. Oh, no, where's I going next? Here's what I was going to do.
This space heater is being called the Tesla of heaters. It can warm up a freezing cold room from 7 degrees to 20 degrees.
I'm glad you're here right now because they just.
I like this guy
right now because they just released something into the fog, and I'm a real-time alert person. Whether it's hours, a little bit later, you get that message right away. We're gonna bring you into what people have been saying before we get into all the other events. We'll show you first, though, what it's looking like in the current goings.
Yeah. So I saw a couple of videos where AI was interpreting tongues. People were speaking in tongues and AI was interpreting it. I didn't have time to watch it, but if you put that in YouTube, it'll show up. Here's this weird fog. Wow. That looks like they put something in the water there. Look at that. It looks like someone's dropped one of the Morocco tablets in the drink. Look at that. It's like, yeah, wow.
There you go, and that was frequencies exploding across Florida, and then you seen it in Texas. And Q Essence in the chat says aerosols, not fog. Exactly, that's what it is. And I want to tell you right now, and there's not many people reporting on DARPA HR 01124S0034 that's active until September 2025, and we're reporting on it. We'll be doing it.
I wonder what what he interpreted. I wonder what the AI said. I'm going to look it up after I hang up today and play it tomorrow if it's worth it.
Every single week, giving you the updates about what's happening. People said that they started to just notice something strange here, and we'll let you see what they said here.
Wow.
Multiple locations from Massachusetts to Florida. They've been reporting here a chemical smell. Everybody in the chat right now, have you been smelling some strange chemical smell, a smell that's not normal? And they try to say, oh, it's just fog. Hell.
Guys, think about it. They're obviously doing that. Trump would have to know that, wouldn't he? He would have to know their plans like that, because if they were doing that and he didn't know about it, he'd stop it. So Trump has to be complicit in this.
If you look that up, it's an unnatural event. It's not, it rarely even happens. And the fact that that's even happening shows you that the aerosols are dispersing more now than ever. Another person reports seeing the exact same thing. Let me know what's going on, y'all. I need to know if this smell is dispersing around. And what you need to do immediately is decontaminate. Take the clothes off when you get in. Get this stuff off your skin. There's all types of parasites on it and everything.
If they drop fog in my area, I would jump in the car and go a couple of 100 miles away and rent a room until all the fog blew over. Look at that, that's not fog.
So there's other people in the chat saying it's absolutely something in the air. What area are you in, Benito, and what area are you in other places here? So another person says, no, Florida here, I have MCS and chemical detection dogs. They have their noses on the ground, not in the air. Unusual. Thank you for saying that. So that's the animal report, and we got some more animal reports we're going to come up with too to show you a little bit. Somebody says, notice a smell like burning or something. So have y'all been noticing in the last couple of days, is this what's going on? Because Lifetime Network here, Dropper Project is active. They say it. They say we're going to modify everything from the air, from the bugs to the food supply chain, everything. Another strange thing that people were noticing, it was this video that came out of the sun, and some of these states don't even have the wildfire stuff in there. And the sun has done something really strange here.
Diane, Elizabeth I, Vast. Elizabeth I spy, his name was John Dee, and he cracked the Enochian language, which is a language of the angels. He actually cracked it. He was able to talk to the fallen angels. I don't know if he knew they were fallen angels, though. Yeah, John Dee from Elizabeth I was him.
What looks to be like some type of a glitch happening with the sun. That person said the sun is not real. And then I looked up just like not too long ago what they were actually doing with the sun. And ITIR is an organization that's United States, Japan, China, all of them involved. None of this stuff is like, oh my God, they're not fighting each other. No, I mean, they're not exactly. So check this out. They said another ITIR Valkyrie vessel sector has been taking its place. Sector module production line sector 5 will now be object of a 6-month sub-assembly process during which key machine components are attached. So basically they have moved forward. They have more of the ITIR chambers. This is another one. They already launched a few of them. You're looking right now at one of the live chambers that they're going to launch into the atmosphere, which they said they already launched a few of them in 2025. They were talking about launching in 2024. And so when we see these flashes from the sun, these pulses, and I've read this before, I've seen it, where it said there's a multiple flash pulses type of lamp LED sun simulators. And I was bringing that out to y'all multiple times. So as this attack happens, we get people smelling chemicals, we get the flashes of the sun, weird stuff, and maybe that flash is symbolizing that nanotechnology may be gleaming off of the sun, the artificial sun, the lamp of it. Because imagine you put some nano bits on a light or something, what happens is refraction or reflection could potentially start hitting that. What do y'all think about that? I'm gonna move forward here.
Wow, boss. That link's crazy. I'm going to put that on now.
Supercomputer.
Is that off cryptid chemtrails? Aliens found emerging from places that shocked the world.
Mysterious sightings. The world is full of things that defy logic.
Aliens are just another hoax, huh? Will you check out this video for yourself?
Sure. We've all wondered, are aliens real? Do ghosts truly exist? What's really out there that we can't explain? From strange occurrences to mysterious sightings, the world is full of things that defy logic and reason.
Shit, something's
People have
chasing
witnessed
him.
bizarre events that challenge everything we think we know. Are these encounters proof of something beyond our understanding, or just coincidences we can't explain? Here are 33 strange and unexplainable things that have been caught on camera. Number 33. Large walking insect. A strange creature filmed walking through a park and across a road has sparked a great deal of debate online. With large, spindly legs and a long tail, it appears insect-like, though some viewers believe it could be something far more extraordinary. The creature's peculiar movement and appearance have led some to claim that it might be proof of an alien life form, potentially visiting Earth or stranded here. Others remain skeptical, arguing it's simply a trick of the camera or a strange creature that's still unidentified. Is this creature proof
Okay, the dogs are aware of it, so it's not bodgy.
of an alien presence, or just another strange encounter captured on camera? Number 32. Traversing through forest. In this brief but mysterious clip, a cameraman films a creature he encounters during a night out in the forest. The figure resembles a gray alien, but little else is known about it. The footage doesn't provide much context, leaving its authenticity in question. Some argue that it could be a real alien encounter, while others suspect it might just be an elaborate setup for internet fame. With so little information, the true nature of the footage remains unclear. Could this be a real extraterrestrial sighting, or just another viral video crafted to intrigue and confuse? Number 31. Crevice Refuge. A viral video titled Yellow Malamé shows a creature hiding behind what appears to be a mud hole, making strange noises and revealing glowing eyes. Some viewers speculate that this could be an extraterrestrial being or some form of cryptid, while others believe it's simply a trapped bird or a hoax video using a doll and sound effects.
Yeah. We will soon see, Vast, what comes up. That's pretty crazy, this thing, isn't it?
The video's eerie nature has captured the attention of viewers, but the unclear origin and unclear creature make it difficult to confirm what exactly is happening. Is this a genuine supernatural encounter, or just another viral hoax designed to thrill the masses? Number 30. Rare Pomboro sighting. A disturbing video filmed in the U.S. Republic of Paraguay shows a child speaking to his mother while their family dog barks at something in the trees. As the dog alerts the family, something strange emerges. A long tentacle-like limb from behind a tree, followed by a large head and torso. Some
Wow.
speculate that it could be an orangutan, but locals are convinced it's something far more sinister, a pomboro, a creature from South American folklore known for its fur-covered body and elusive nature. Could this be a real Pomboro sighting, or is it just another hoax designed to stir up local legends? Number 29. Alien on the menu. When we encounter something truly bizarre, our first instinct might be to run or hide. But not everyone reacts that way. A TikTok user shared a bizarre video of him preparing a strange creature for a meal. The video shows the user cooking an alien-like being, raising eyebrows and sparking speculation about its origins. While some might be brave enough to sample what's off the planet's menu, others are more cautious, wondering about the potential consequences of cooking an extraterrestrial being. Could this be a real alien encounter or just a viral video meant to shock and entertain? Number 28. Appearing from the bushes. In this strange video shared by Terrence, a self-proclaimed visionary artist, something bizarre occurs during his live overtone singing. As he sings, a deer stops in its tracks, seemingly captivated by the sounds. As he films the moment, two dark figures emerge from behind the trees. One figure moves stealthily behind the foliage, while another, more spindly creature peeks out. The eerie figures are drawn to the unsettling music, and the scene leaves viewers feeling uneasy. Some TikTok users have speculated that these figures might be skinwalkers. What could these figures be? Is it a paranormal encounter, or just an odd coincidence? Number 27. Real gray alien caught on tape in Brazil. A chilling video from Brazil
Brazil has a lot of problems with aliens, doesn't it?
shows what appears to be a gray alien tied to a chair, visibly distressed and in some kind of distress. The creature's expressive face and faint, unsettling sounds only add to the eeriness of the footage. The realism of its movements raises questions. If this is CGI, it's incredibly sophisticated for a video filmed in 2008. The dim lighting and palpable tension build the mystery even further, leaving viewers to wonder if it's a cutting-edge special effects creation or if something far more disturbing is at play. Could this truly be a real alien encounter, or is it just an advanced piece
Looks real to me. It even blinks real.
of digital trickery? Number 26. Abduction in progress. In this unsettling clip, a man appears to be fleeing from a humanoid figure, clearly terrified and desperate to escape. His wide-eyed expression and frantic movements make it evident that he isn't joking. Some viewers immediately assume that the creature pursuing him is an alien, possibly preparing to abduct him. However, the reality behind the scene is less.
I wonder what would happen if you stood back and fought that thing. Because it doesn't look very big. It looks like it'd be easy to beat, unless it's got some sort of supernatural power.
Otherworldly and more grounded. The man was reportedly chased by members of a local tribe after accidentally wandering into their territory. While it may look like something straight out of a thriller, the man's fear is very real. What do you think? Could this encounter have an extraterrestrial origin, or is it simply an unfortunate misunderstanding? Number 25. Chat with space dwellers. A video shared by OANASAX on Twitter X shows what seems to be a tall gray alien interacting with a human. While no verbal communication takes place, some viewers speculate that the two are communicating telepathically. The video has captured the imagination of many, sparking debates about whether it could be real. No additional information is available, which only adds to the intrigue. Could this be an authentic encounter with an alien, or is it just another staged video? Number 24. Deformed alien. A disturbing video from Australia has
I don't want to get limed.
surfaced showing a strange alien-like figure with elongated limbs, crouched and making unsettling, inhuman noises. The creature's odd movements and eerie appearance have left viewers debating its authenticity. Some believe it's simply a poorly designed prop, while others are convinced it's a genuine extraterrestrial being caught on camera. The lack of reaction to the light and the unnatural proportions of its limbs only add to the mystery surrounding this footage. Is this a hoax?
Who would go to the trouble of making an alien like that, go into a dark cave and using arms like a puppet? Who would bother doing that? What's the motive? They're not going to make money off it. I reckon this stuff's mostly true.
Or is it possible that we've stumbled upon something truly otherworldly?
I guess so.
Number 23. Civilized aliens. A video has emerged showing aliens wearing clothes, a surprising change from the typical portrayal of extraterrestrials as naked beings.
I've seen this
The
one
grainy
before.
footage features these clothed aliens seemingly preparing for some sort of mission. While the video lacks many details and the quality is questionable, it has sparked an uproar online, with many users joking about the fashion-forward aliens.
Yeah, he was talking about werewolf super soldiers, wasn't he, Vast?
Some viewers even speculate that this could be an intentional statement about how aliens might present themselves when making contact with Earth. Is this a real encounter with aliens preparing for their mission, or just another viral video created for laughs? Number 22. Creature ringing doorbell. A strange piece of footage has been uploaded showing a bizarre, alien-like creature staring directly into a doorbell camera. The footage was captured at night, and the uploader, who was away at the time, received the alert. With no updates from the uploader and the eerie look of the creature, the situation only becomes more unsettling. Some speculate that this could be proof of an alien presence, while others believe it's simply a hoax or a prank played on the unsuspecting.
I don't believe that one there, because look how big his pupils are, and he's in light, so his pupils aren't reacting to the light. So I think this one's a phony.
Homeowner. Could this be an alien encounter caught on camera or just a clever prank by someone with too much time on their hands? Number 21, under interrogation. A video dating back to the 1950s has resurfaced, showing an alien being codenamed Gray undergoing what appears to be an interrogation. The footage, captured during the height of UFO fascination, has sparked intense debates. Some believe this footage was filmed at an underground military base, possibly Area 51. Others argue that it's just another piece of government cover-up with no real evidence to support it. Despite decades of scrutiny, the video's origin remains unclear, leaving more questions than answers. Do you think this footage is genuine, or is it just another government cover-up shrouded in mystery? Number 20, shiny extraterrestrial. A video from Tamil Nadu has recently gone viral, showing people gathered around a glowing figure on Devadana Paddy Hill near Sanchi. The figure is identified.
That's an angel or a fallen angel, because fallen angels can come masked in light. I wonder which it is.
As Ranganathan Aya, a revered sage who claims to have achieved immortality and lives in the cave, chanting the Maha Mantra. Locals regard him as a holy figure, and the glow surrounding him is seen as proof of his divine nature. The video has attracted crowds of curious onlookers, all eager to witness the mystical phenomenon. However, some speculate that this could be something beyond human understanding, perhaps even an extraterrestrial encounter. Could this be a divine figure, or is there something extraterrestrial at play here? Number 19, before and after capturing. On July 1st, 2015, in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, a witness reported hearing strange noises coming from outside his home. Upon investigation, he was shocked to see a humanoid alien on his roof in broad daylight. The slender, pink-skinned creature, around 1.5 meters tall, moved with agility before disappearing into the shadows. This encounter, known as the Nuevo Laredo alien sighting, gained widespread media attention and sparked debates about its authenticity. Some remain convinced that it was a real extraterrestrial encounter, while others are more skeptical, calling it a hoax. What do you believe? Was this a genuine sighting of an alien, or just an elaborate hoax?
Yeah, Bars, it wouldn't be a holy angel, because a holy angel wouldn't just sit there on show like that. So you're probably right. It's going to be a fallen angel.
Number 18, demon or alien. This video claims to show a reptilian humanoid, an alien figure that's often discussed in conspiracy circles and folklore. The footage depicts a human-like being startled by its surroundings before being pushed to the ground. While the video is murky and lacks credible verification, some claim it's proof of reptilian beings living among us. The video's grainy quality leaves room for doubt, as it's hard to decipher if it's real footage or an attention-grabbing fake. Do you think this could be an actual sighting, or is it simply a poorly shot video designed to confuse and intrigue? Number 17, unknown beast animal. A video has appeared online featuring a creature that looks like a wild boar, but with features that seem far from normal. Some viewers have suggested that the animal could be the result of a military experiment, while others think it might be the result of an extraterrestrial influence. Despite its intimidating appearance, the creature seems calm around humans, with no signs of aggression. This has fueled further speculation about its origins.
Okay, I don't believe this one at all. That's got to be CGI. It's got to be.
Now it's time for the odd topic. A group of creepy creatures crawling through a dark waterway at night. No clothes, no eyes, just sharp teeth and long arms dragging through the tunnel. This shocking photo was taken near an old drainage canal in southern Poland. At first, no one knew what they were, but later, it was found they had escaped from a lab nearby. What were the researchers trying to create in the lab? Share your thoughts in the comments below with the hashtag #OddTopic.
And were they sentient that they wanted to escape down the sewers?
Number 16, bear or werewolf. A group of hikers had a terrifying encounter in the woods when they spotted what they initially thought was a bear. But upon closer inspection, the creature's face didn't match any bear they had seen. It had a more wolf-like appearance, which led them to believe it might be something far stranger. The footage is unclear, but the creature's unusual features raised questions about whether it was the result of a botched science experiment or simply another strange video in the world of internet hoaxes. Number 15. Disturbed or interrupted. An old clip of what some believe to be aliens has resurfaced online, once again sparking debates about its authenticity. The footage shows a creature with strange, jerky movements, which has led many to dismiss it as either an animation or a hoax. However, some viewers still believe it's real, pointing to it as proof that extraterrestrial beings exist. The creature's erratic movements only add to the mystery, with skeptics arguing it could be a poorly executed fake.
Not sure on that.
The debate continues, leaving many to wonder if this footage is an elaborate fabrication or something more ominous. Number 14 in lineup. A creepy clip circulating for years shows what's claimed to be a real alien captured and brought to a secret underground military base for questioning. In the footage, the
so swimming up that canal like bat wings. Their arms were like bat wings. Very creepy looking.
alien stands as though posing for an interrogation, almost like a criminal caught in the act. While the clip is unsettling, it lacks any credible verification or sources, which makes it difficult to take at face value. It's likely a very convincing fake, or perhaps an art project that didn't gain the attention it was hoping for. With no proof of its authenticity, this video seems to be just another piece of internet lore. Number 13. Mutating alien captured. A disturbing video showing a terrifying creature with a mouthful of sharp teeth has made its rounds online, giving viewers a serious case of the chills. Its humanoid features and sinister expression make it seem like something straight out of a horror movie. However, what many don't realize is that this alien is actually a creation for the TV series Nancy Drew Season 4, known as the Sin Eater. The impressive makeup and special effects were designed by Master Stick Studios, with the face and cowl sculpted by Chris Devitt. Though it looks terrifying, it's just an expertly crafted piece of visual storytelling, not a real alien encounter. Number 12. Observing Duende. A strange figure was spotted sitting by the pool in a public space, seemingly observing the scene around it. Some viewers have claimed it could be a duende, a mystical creature from folklore, or even an interdimensional being. The low-quality footage leaves much to the imagination, making it difficult to determine what...
Yeah, Vars, if they didn't want them to escape, they'd make sure they can't escape. So you're probably right there. They probably... See them animals that washed up in New York, was it? Where that island's not far off it, where they create monsters? I can't remember what it is.
What exactly is being shown?
But they found two bodies on the beach, and they were mammals, but one of them had a parrot's beak. It was really weird.
It could be a child wrapped in a towel, or perhaps something more unusual, but the lack of clarity leaves us in a state of uncertainty. Is it a supernatural being, or simply a person caught in a strange angle? Without more information, it's impossible to say for sure. Number 11. Intact carcasses. A bizarre video from central London shows what appears to be a massive octopus-like carcass being transported on a truck, possibly a military vehicle. Some viewers immediately jumped to the conclusion that this was evidence of an alien creature being moved under military secrecy. While it could be a prop for a film or a special event, many continue to insist that
I'm pretty sure that's a prop because it's... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a prop.
Are seeing proof of extraterrestrials being transported right under our noses. Are these...
Because its head's like the alien in Alien. Its head shaped like that, so I'm guessing it's a prop.
Believers onto something? Or is this just another fabricated story? With no clear answers, this video continues to fuel speculation about what might really be going on behind the scenes.
So its head, look.
Number 10. Kitchen window sighting. A video has recently surfaced showing a blinking figure through a kitchen window. The footage, captured by a child, has ignited debates across the internet. The filmer is convinced that this is undeniable proof that aliens are living among us. The clip was even aired on TV news, further fueling speculation.
Aliens are just another hoax, Snob. Will you check out this video for yourself?
However, the creature's sudden disappearance at an alarming speed has left many skeptical. Some argue that it's a genuine alien encounter, while others suggest it's an expertly edited video or a staged prank. Real or not, this video has certainly added to the ongoing conversation about the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Number 9. Disappearing into fence. This viral clip has sparked heated debates online, with many claiming it to be undeniable proof of an alien casually walking through a steel fence. The figure appears to pass through the bars, as though they were non-existent. Some theorize it could be an alien using a dimensional portal, while others suspect it's just another trick of the camera or clever CGI. Regardless, the video has captured the imaginations of many, forcing viewers to question whether what we're seeing is real or merely another viral sensation. Is this truly evidence of an interdimensional being, or is it just another digital fabrication? The mystery remains unresolved. Number 8. Onboarding saucer. A strange video from Romania shows a figure walking toward what appears to be an alien saucer in a forest before it takes off into the sky. The video has caused quite a stir, with some suggesting that the location could be a perfect hideout for extraterrestrials, allowing them to stay out of sight. Others, however, argue that the whole thing is a carefully crafted hoax using CGI. As the debate continues to unfold, it's up to you to decide. Is this a genuine alien encounter, or just another digital illusion created to fool the masses? The footage definitely adds another...
Where are they coming and going from? They're walking on the streets. Where are they coming from? Are they coming through portals?
layer to the mystery surrounding UFOs and potential alien activity, leaving us questioning the authenticity of what we see. Number 7. Encounter with a mysterious creature in Mexico. In Alco, Mexico, a group of workers on their way home one night noticed a strange figure standing by the roadside. The creature appeared skeletal and extremely thin, almost like a starving child. Despite its eerie appearance, the workers felt pity rather than fear, as the creature seemed more vulnerable than threatening. As they drove away, they couldn't help but wonder about the nature of the being they had just encountered. Number 6. Unusual mushrooms growing. A strange video surfaced showing a cluster of slime-covered mushrooms growing next to a dumpster. The source of the video, an anonymous observer, poked at the mushrooms with a metal object, but they showed no signs of aggression. They simply remained stationary, almost as if they were waiting. The peculiar appearance of these mushrooms stirred curiosity and speculation, with many viewers wondering if these fungi could be from another world, or if they were simply a bizarre phenomenon of Earth. While calling them alien mushrooms may seem like a stretch, the unusual nature of the fungi raises the possibility that something out of the ordinary could be at play here.
Yeah, Vas, I played that the other day. I got some more of Israel News Live to finish off with today.
Number 5. Alien Scout in the Forest. During a solo hike through a remote forest, a hiker couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As the feeling grew stronger, he realized that a small creature was closely observing his every move. It was an alien-like figure, hiding and quietly tracking his actions. The hiker noticed the creature's fascination, wondering what its purpose could be. Was it just curious, or did it have a deeper reason for following him? Number 4. Creepy encounter in an abandoned building. Exploring an abandoned building is often an adventure for curious thrill seekers, but two friends in this case found themselves face to face with something terrifying. As they explored, they spotted a creature lurking in the shadows.
Sure.
The figure had a twisted, broken back and appeared to be hiding in the dim light, making it clear it wasn't an animal or human they were used to seeing. While it didn't pursue them, the sight was unsettling enough to make them run for the exit, their hearts pounding with fear. This chilling encounter raises questions about what truly inhabits abandoned spaces, and whether there are things hiding in the shadows that we don't understand. Number 3. Ghost Hunter Encounter. Ghost hunting is an activity that many find thrilling, but for two investigators, their pursuit of the paranormal turned into a chilling experience. While hiding behind a large rock to avoid being detected, they were startled by a figure that seemed to be searching for them. This creature was no ghost. It appeared filled with rage and intent on finding them. The hunters remained motionless, afraid that their presence had triggered something far darker than they had expected. This experience serves as a reminder that the line between ghostly encounters and something far more sinister can be incredibly thin. Number 2. Strange visitor in France. A group of friends in Fès, France, experienced something they'll never forget during a casual barbecue. While hanging out in the woods, they noticed a strange figure peering at them from behind some trees. To get a better look, they started a small fire, which revealed a creature with large dark eyes and unnaturally long fingers. It stood frozen, watching the flames with fascination. When one of the friends approached it, the figure suddenly vanished without a trace, leaving the group both terrified and confused. This encounter challenges the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural, leaving the question of whether it was truly an alien or just an ordinary yet odd person. Number 1. Flying creature sighted. A man in Pennsylvania captured a piece of footage showing a strange flying creature. At first glance, it appeared to be a bird, but as the man zoomed in, it became clear that this creature had an unusual shape. The creature resembled a pterodactyl, a long-extinct prehistoric flying reptile. Could this really be an undiscovered species that somehow survived from ancient times? Or is this just an unusual bird caught in the right moment? The footage adds a layer of mystery to the idea that prehistoric creatures might still exist in remote parts of the world, even if that idea stretches the imagination. Do you believe in aliens? If so, where are they hiding? Let us know in the comments below. See you next time.
Welcome back to India. Charles, is it good to be back?
This simple yet brilliant trick to heat your home in 90 seconds will save thousands of dollars on your heating bill this winter.
Definitely share this with your friends. It opens up great conversation. And be sure to go check out the full film as well, fourthwatchfilms.com. Shortly after Operation High Jump had failed, Admiral Byrd is documented as taking a North Pole expedition. Now, it's probably a good idea to explain a little bit more about Admiral Byrd before going any further, as this next account is as mind-blowing as they come. Richard Evelyn Byrd was an American naval officer who specialized in feats of great exploration. He was a pioneering American aviator. He was a polar explorer, and he was an organizer of polar logistics. He served as a navigator and expedition leader on aircraft flights, in which he crossed the Atlantic Ocean, a segment of the Arctic Ocean, and even a segment of the Antarctic Plateau. Byrd claimed that his expeditions had been the first to reach the North and South Poles by air, and he was highly accredited and praised for these major accomplishments worldwide. It was in his lifetime that Byrd had amassed 22 citations and special commendations, including the Medal of Honor, which is the highest honor for heroism given by the United States. Byrd was one of only 4 Americans in history entitled to wear a medal with their own image on it. He was a national hero and explorer, awarded with notoriety even from the Smithsonian. Admiral Byrd was held to a high degree of respect in terms of the world, and he was highly regarded and valued by the U.S. government for a lifetime of accomplishments through expeditions and missions. Finally, he was on the cover of Time magazine, published on Monday, November 8, 1926, as well as 2 commemorative postage stamps. And his expeditions were publicized greatly in the media of his day.
Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily.
So what we have here is someone who isn't exactly a Johnny-come-lately. We're not talking about a questionable conspiracy theorist, but rather someone with a lifetime of adventures and documented stories of expeditions that we only hear about or see in the movies. That being stated, a diary has surfaced claiming to be that of Admiral Byrd, documenting one of the most amazing expeditions to date. We're dealing with a man who was taken into the North Pole by UFOs and was forced to meet with the Inner Earth King, or the Master, if we're going by the diary's own terminology. No one can state it better than the words of the diary itself.
Admiral Richard E. Byrd's diary, February, March 1947. A land beyond the poles. The exploration flight over the North Pole. The Inner Earth. My secret diary. I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity. It concerns my Arctic flight of the 19th day of February in the year of 1947. There comes a time when the rationality of men must fade into insignificance, and one must accept the inevitability of the truth. I am not at liberty to disclose the following documentation at this writing. Perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny. But I must do my duty and record here for all to read one day. In a world of greed and exploitation of certain of mankind, one can no longer suppress that which is truth. Flight log, Base Camp, Arctic. February 19th, 1947. 0600 hours. All preparations are complete for our flight northward, and we are airborne with full fuel tanks at 0610 hours. 0910 hours. Fast ice and snow below. 0915 hours. In the distance is what appears to be mountains. 1000 hours. We are crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best as can be ascertained. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05 hours. I alter altitude to 1400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It is green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth.
Wow.
This is incredible. Yet there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It is confirmed. It is definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to base camp. 10:30 hours. The external temperature indicator reads 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing on our heading now. Navigation instruments seem normal now. I am puzzled over their actions. Attempt to contact base camp. Radio is not functioning. 11:30 hours. Countryside below is more level and normal, if I may use that word. Ahead we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. Aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. With the BankWest single-use virtual card, you can easily make one-off purchases, which means less time worrying about where your card... The controls refuse to respond. My God! Off our port and starboard wings are a strange type of aircraft. They are closing rapidly alongside. They are disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They're close enough now to see the markings on them. It is a type of swastika. This is fantastic. Where are we? What has happened? I tug at the controls again. They will not respond. We are caught in an invisible vice grip of some type. 11:35 hours. Our radio crackles and a voice comes through in English with what perhaps is a slight Nordic or Germanic accent. The message is, "Welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 7 minutes. Relax, Admiral. You're in good hands. I note the engines of our plane have stopped running. The aircraft is under some strange control and is now turning itself. The controls are useless. 11:40 hours. Another radio message
Wow, imagine that technology they got now then.
received. We begin the landing process now, and in moments the plane shudders slightly and begins a descent as though caught in some great unseen elevator. The downward motion is negligible, and we touch down with only a slight jolt. 11:45 hours. I am making a hasty last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on foot toward our aircraft. They are tall with blonde hair. In the distance is a large shimmering city, pulsating with rainbow hues of color. I do not know what's going to happen now, but I see no signs of weapons on those approaching. I hear now a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply. End log. From this point, I write all the following events here from memory. It defies the imagination and would seem all but madness if it had not happened. The radio man and I are taken from the aircraft and we are received in a most cordial manner. We were then boarded on a small platform-like conveyance. With no wheels, it moves us toward the glowing city with great swiftness. As we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. Soon, we arrive at a large building that is a type I have never seen before. It appears to be right out of the design board of Frank Lloyd Wright, or perhaps more correctly, out of a Buck Rogers setting. We are given some type of warm beverage which tasted like nothing I have ever savored before. It is delicious. After about 10 minutes, 2 of our wondrous appearing hosts come to our quarters and announce that I am to accompany them. I have no choice but to comply. I leave my radio man behind, and we walk a short distance and enter into what seems to be an elevator. We descend downward for some moments, and the machine stops, and the door lifts silently upward. We then proceed down a long hallway that is lit by rose-colored light that seems to be emanating from the very walls themselves. One of the beings motions for us.
I've never heard this testimony before. This is pretty amazing.
To stop before a great door. Over the door is an inscription that I cannot read. The great door slides noiselessly open and I am beckoned to enter. One of my hosts speaks. Have no fear, Admiral. You are to have an audience with the Master. I step inside and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration that seems to be filling the room completely. Then I begin to see my surroundings. What greeted my eyes is the most beautiful sight of my entire existence. It is, in fact, too beautiful and wondrous to describe. It is exquisite and delicate. I do not think there exists a human term that can describe it in any detail with justice. My thoughts are interrupted in a cordial manner by a warm, rich voice of melodious quality. I bid you welcome to our domain, Admiral. I see a man with delicate features and with the etching of years upon his face. He is seated at a long table. He motions me to sit down at one of the chairs. After I am seated, he places his fingertips together and smiles.
This is a guy they were all going to visit in 2016. Buzz Aldrin went there and had a heart attack. His heart failed him, and that's what the Bible says. They suggest that they thought that the master is Lucifer. That's what they suggest.
He speaks softly again and conveys the following. We have let you enter here because you are of noble character and well known on the surface world. Surface world, I half gasp under my breath. Yes, the master replies with a smile. You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. We shall not long delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface and for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I shall tell you why you have been summoned here.
Wow.
Our interest rightly begins just after your race exploded the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. It was at that alarming time we sent our flying machines, the Flugerods, to your surface world to investigate what your race had done. That is, of course, past history now, my dear Admiral, but I must continue on. You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity.
This powerful heater can heat up any room in seconds without the high electricity costs. Electricity suppliers don't want you to know about this.
But now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely, that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. I interrupted, but what does this have to do with me, sir? The Master's eyes seemed to penetrate deeply into my mind, and after studying me for a few moments, he replied, "Your race has now reached the point of no return, for there are those among you who would destroy your very world, rather than relinquish their power as they know it."
Isn't that what the reptilians say? We'd rather bring the planet down than to hand it over. I'm pretty sure they say that.
Nodded, and the Master continued. In 1945 and afterward, we tried to contact your race, but our efforts were met with hostility. Our Flugerrods were fired upon, yes, even pursued with malice and animosity by your fighter planes. So, now I say to you, my son, there is a great storm gathering in your world, a black fury that will not spend itself for many years. There will be no answer in your arms. There will be no safety in your science. It may rage on until every flower of your culture is trampled, and all human things are leveled in vast chaos. Your recent war was only a prelude of what is yet to come for your race. We here see it more clearly with each hour. Do you say I'm mistaken? No, I answer. It happened once before. The Dark Ages came and they lasted for more than 500 years. Yes, my son, replied the Master. The Dark Ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall. But I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say.
That's got to be tribulation. He's talking tribulation.
See at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures. And they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then, you will have learned the futility of war and its strife. And after that time, sir.
Diane, did you see the one where Buzz Aldrin said to the little girl we never went to the moon?
Of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With these closing words, our meeting seemed at an end. I stood for a moment as in a dream, but yet I knew this was reality, and for some strange reason I bowed slightly, either out of respect or humility. I do not know which. Suddenly I was again aware that the two beautiful hosts who had brought me here were again at my side. This way, Admiral, motioned one. I turned once more before leaving and looked back toward the Master. A gentle smile was etched on his delicate and ancient face. Farewell, my son, he spoke. Then he gestured with a lovely, slender hand motion of peace, and our meeting was truly ended.
Pretty convincing to me.
Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Mann here with Israeli News Live. Today is June 7th, 2025. And I have on the screen right here a picture of a book written by Robert Liardon. And I always kind of thought that was an interesting name for this book here.
And Diane, do you remember Neil Armstrong rang Nixon from the moon? How could he ring Nixon from the moon? What is there, telecom in the moon? Is there some sort of phone company there? How could he phone Nixon the president? That's ridiculous.
God's generals. And he's written about, in fact, he's actually written many books on what he calls God's generals. This one here are called The Healing Evangelist, like Oral Roberts, Hunter's in there, Bosworth, and Summerall. You have those kind of names mentioned in there. He also writes about William Branham. He writes about Smith Wigglesworth. Many of these guys are known as the healing evangelist of the late or the early 20th century, going back from around the 1930s, coming all the way up to the 70s and 80s with Oral Roberts. And so many people came to know them. But what we're not really looking at very closely is what was their message besides, and no doubt, I'm not here to criticize there's so many miracles that happen. There's no doubt about it. It certainly cannot be argued, but we have to look at the message that followed that. It was very much a pro-Israel message as well. And that's something that people forget about. And of course, oddly enough, in 1909, when Schofield, with the Oxford Press, released the Oxford Bible, which, by the way, many of the board members of the Oxford Press back in that time period were Freemasons. I want you to keep that in mind as well. And then, of course, we have the advent of World War I, which happens in 1914, only 5 years after the release of the Schofield Bible. And that's what begins the fall of the Ottoman Empire. That's what begins the dividing of the land in the Middle East, and ultimately with World War II, that will be the beginning of the state or the modern state of Israel. But they had to have a pretext. They had to have Christian support here in the United States to be able to make all that happen. Well, the question, though, comes down to, does Jesus ever talk about it? Oddly enough, he does. If you go to the book of Matthew in chapter 7, he says here in verse 21 to 23, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, notice, many, not a few, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. He doesn't argue the fact of that. He doesn't argue the fact that there's great healing campaigns, prophecies galore that actually come to pass. He doesn't even argue that at all. But he says this, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you, depart from me, you that work iniquity. Then we can't help but wonder, where does this word iniquity even come from? Now, in the Old Testament, there are several times that the word iniquity appears in the Old Testament. And keeping in mind, of course, Jesus was from that time period when the New Testament as of yet had not been written. But Matthew uses the word iniquity here. And so we begin to look at the basis of that word and looking at that, because granted, we're getting this in a Greek form, right? And in that Greek form, let me just go back to some of the notes that I've made myself on all this. When you look at the Greek format of what was said here, going into the original use of this language here, it comes from two words put together, and that is, gosh, find the notes, Steve. There's so many notes here. Boy, I was really getting into a lot of, here we go, right here. It is from the Middle English, which is from an old French word, iniquité is the French word, Latin, which in turn comes from the Latin word iniquitas, meaning unjust, unequal, unfair. It's from the word in, which means not, inequas, which means equal or fair. It's totally not equal. There's no equality, in other words, in this at this point here. And when you look at that, I really wanted to find out because I had a revelation in my heart. So I had to be sure that my revelation matched what the Word of God actually says. So when you begin to study and look at these words that are used here for iniquity, okay, right here we have in here, for example, in Hosea chapter 4, in Hosea chapter 4, where it says here, they eat up the sin of my people and they set their heart on their iniquity. Now, this word, and the reason why I chose the book of Hosea, because Hosea uses two forms of the word iniquity. There's actually three, and that form is avon, which is perversity, that which is morally evil is what it means. It's a fault, it's a mischief. And most people translate iniquity in the New Testament, they think of just lawlessness. Because of this word right here from the Old Testament, which is quite common in the earlier chapters in Genesis, Exodus, all the places where Moses writes about it, he pretty much writes it from that standpoint. But Hosea also uses another version of the word, which translates in English as iniquity. Gilead is a city of them that work iniquity and is polluted with blood. But in that case, that version is what we have in Matthew as far as that meaning. Notice at the bottom here, unjust, unrighteous. Okay? Same thing I just told you a minute ago. It is an unequal, unfair, or unjust. And if you look at the Hebrew Matthew, and I want to establish this first for you, the basis of the foundation of what we're looking at here before I go into the revelation that's in my heart about this, which is going to be very shocking to many of you. But if you go to the Hebrew Matthew in chapter 7, verse 23, we have it right here at the very last part here, Avan. Avan is the very Hebrew word that we see in Hosea chapter 6, verse 8. It is truly the unjust, the unequal, is the word that Jesus was speaking about there. So if we go back, just so you can see it, Aleph Vav Nun, and if you look at first, say for example, Hosea 4:8, it's a different word. It's Ayin Vav Nun, Avon, okay? But in Hosea 6:8, he chooses a different word to use here. And that word is Aleph Vav Nun, the word for unjust. Unrighteousness.
Okay, that's not interesting. I'll finish off with that guy who's doing the smoke stuff, the fog stuff. Where is he? There he is.
Dad, I'm sick.
DuffDoc makes healthcare seriously accessible. It's the platform that
the DOD named it Cassie. And it was after this lady right here, if you look on say right now are actively using this supercomputer because they said we'll use this is for biodefense, for national safety. Yet we have not announced how this biological computer is helping us out, because it's not helping us out. It's helping their biological operations. It's a DOD operation. Another strange thing with animals, we have people telling us in the chat here about some strange stuff happening. But this right here shows something else definitely happening. They said it will merge this happening with the food and everything else. Check this out and let me know what you're seeing as well. And I got to put on the audio with it because I don't think the audio will be on if I don't. Here it is.
So imagine you're picking up trash, and I'm finding something very interesting. Somebody left French fries here. They've been out here for over a day. I was thinking the birds would eat them. The birds won't touch them, not even the seagulls. And over here, this is even more curious. These are blackberries. They didn't touch them either. So it doesn't matter if we eat processed food that the birds don't eat, or even stuff that looks like it grows off of a plant. it makes me wonder, what are they putting in food that makes it so that even seagulls won't clean up the mess after we leave it? I just find that really curious.
So we're just living in a horrible shithole.
And seagulls are really greedy birds. If you've ever been to the beach with a bag of chips, seagulls are annoying.
We don't have birds because birds don't have anything to eat, and the whole thing falls apart. And while we're busy living in this desiccated hellhole, in 20 years' time, we'll be wondering why we didn't protect our wildflower meadows instead of our entirely perverse food system. So that's just one to think about.
All right, so where I'm at, this is right here, Lubbock, Texas, crazy stuff in the sky. Where I'm at, birds are still flying around and moving fine, but I can't speak for every area. I'm in the Arizona area. What area are y'all in? And are you seeing strange things and activity with the birds? And also, secondly, outside of that, we look into a lot of the experiments and stuff. We try to do some ourselves, but we have somebody who literally went deeper into an experiment on the food. Because DARPA said, oh, we have a national emergency with the food. They showed this person come in as, oh, a Chinese operative has come in with some smuggled pathogens. And literally they're working with somebody on the inside of the government. We already know this stuff. And that's why criminals still running around that really disgusting at this point.
Okay, there's something fishy about that. Because if you're bringing fungus into America, I'm pretty sure you could hide the spores in an empty test tube or an empty urine jar. I'm pretty sure you could save the pores there. So how did they know that there was Chinese trying to smuggle in fungus? There's something not right in that story.
But what really disgusts me is this food supply, as well as this merging biotech in the atmosphere. It's all a synchronized game plan for the merging of the symbiosis.
Yeah, I like J.W. Vast.
That, you have to see this video clip up next. What is in the meat? This meat net, add 1 ml of water. Going to sonicate the mixture. Fatty layer going to the top. Let's spin this out. Spin this guy out. Analyze the murky layer in the middle. Okay, so there's the layer separated. And it's into the small molecule. Goes on the big boy, the SIBO, to top. Like this. Quick preview. How we're doing things. No exclusion list. Ramp on the collision energy. Look at the gradient. Empty mine, and looks like this. And then you can molecules identified. We have carnosine, theobromine, carnitine, putrescine. So the question is, we got to move into, okay, what the heck is they doing right now since DARPA said they were going to mess with the supply chain? And I want to look into the word that we just looked at right there. All right, so polyamine, an organic compound for the formula, is colorless, odorless, and has a foul odor of decaying flesh. That's disgusting. And they said they would put the human gene inside of potatoes. We got to watch for this. I want to read a little bit more because I don't trust these people. After death, smell of death, putrescine is which was in that taco with cadaverine is a major contributor to the distinctive foul and odor of death, and it's basically a mechanism that animals and humans use. And it says putrescine is being investigated for
good night, Di. I'm out after this as well.
Process as a target for drug development. Disgusting, man. The question is, they say, oh, humans use this and plants use this as well. But the decaying smell of flesh inside of food is absolutely disgusting, and we should never, ever trust them again. I think somebody in the chat said, Michael Clapp says, hey, I'm being targeted. I don't want to talk about this much. What's going on? Who targeting you? Who targeting you, Michael Clapp in the chat? I mean, talk about whatever you need to talk about. Like we got more people coming in across the world. Somebody says, unlikely anyone of sound mind will sign an agreement with the U.S. in the foreseeable future.
Vast, it's just you and I left. I'm finishing after this one, mate.
Exactly. The U.S. is actually a disgusting laboratory. Even if you look at China, I'm gonna show you this video clip where they're shooting missiles in the sky for weather operations. This is what they do though. Check it out right here. How long until they try to do stuff like this in America? People said this would spark a civil war if they went in the streets and start shooting missiles like this. Really? Because we've been saying that for years. Oh, civil war. Oh, civil war. Ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing happening. What's happening is we're watching the process over and over, day by day, hoping that somebody stands up against the system, hoping somebody comes out to do anything. And in fact, it's going to be just us, God, community. Us, God, community. And then other than that, people just want to fight in between each other. So that's the most biggest process we face right now. As all this is happening right now, massive people are evacuating. We're under attack. The biggest thing the average person can do when you try to bring a solution to them is fight you. And if, like me, I've been exposed to all this for 8+ years, and I'm so thankful for the support, 90% support, and other people just come out and just bash me and talk crap. Look, I've been doing this for 8+ years, and I'm doing lifetime research. If you're new right now, you're tuning in, you're feeling attacked, something is happening to you, you look in the description, we have there our group link to Telegram where the lifetime reports happen, and we get it from you. 369 News, we appreciate you. Minister Runner, we appreciate you. And here's the thing, we're constantly exposing stuff together. If we operate on the same field of energy in our mind, these people can't destroy us, but they can only destroy us when we play the psychological operation and allow them to get attacked and then we start attacking each other. It's the work and art form of the devil, of the empire, of the demons that are constantly trying to suck the energy out of you, suck the life out of you. When in fact, we're the most lit up ones in the room. When we walk out there in public, people know who we are. They already see us, they can feel it. And you can calm people down instantly most of the time. And you know that you have that ability, you know that you have that power, but you're listening to the whole system every day and you're getting this, oh, I'm tired of it. And shut.
That is true. I get people stare at me. That's true what he just said. That they can see God in you.
Shut it off, and I get that. Totally shutting it off. But at the end game of it all, this shutting it off actually solve the problem? No, it doesn't. It doesn't solve anything. But having a peace of mind is the most important aspect to any warfare that's happening asymmetrically from mental, spiritual, because the external force is always there to bring you down whenever you're starting to come up. And that's the whole situation here. As we face the psychological warfare, we fight the battle together as a community, not in the line of attack alone, but when we stand together, it makes us more powerful in numbers. But allow people to be left alone and attack. And you see a neighbor getting hit with a frequency weapon or something happening.
It's only 12:30 p.m. here.
I ain't gonna let them
early afternoon.
I need to go cook this chicken up right now. This biological chicken I got up in the freezer. I said the freezer. And I'm gonna enjoy my chicken. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this, these potato chips with the human genes in it and everything else. It's crazy. But as we go together through this battle, you can see some of the top people giving information out there, not expanding into the scope of the atmosphere of what needs to be heard. And why is that? Because there's an enemy system constantly looking at us, constantly surveilling us, constantly hoping that we can't get that message out. Because I promise you, once this message expands, we will shift the narrative. We will shift the field. We will not consistently be in this attack and feel defenseless. That's why I was put here. That's my mission. I could have died years ago. I could have already drowned it, literally. I was like, why am I alive? Because when I was a kid, I almost drowned in the pool, and I come back alive, literally. And I'm like, oh, shoot, man, all these people that passed away, and I'm still here, and I have this purpose and duty, and I'm connected with all these people. And at the same time, I'm only here because of the energy that you brought and because of you bringing your message to me. That's what helped us as a community connect through this attack. So I'm going to be here. Real-time reports. Here's what you need to know if you're new tuning in and you think you're disconnected. We give one live update of a frequency attack or whatever has happened per week. We'll show you what's happening on the maps, everything, so you know what's going on for your family, for the urgent reports. We'll do like 2 edited videos, and then after that, we'll do investigation events as well. Today, we did an investigation event, and we're listening to all the comments here. I want to see comments out this over with. And what they're creating in this atmosphere is, I want to tell you this, is
This simple yet brilliant trick to heat your home in 90 seconds will save thousands of dollars on your heating bill this winter.
Hypoxema. And so what is hypoxema? I'm going to read this out to you right now because while people are tuning in, I'm going to let them see the video clip of what the atmosphere was looking like, the frequency attacks, and I'm going to read what they're actually doing here. So what they're actually doing in the byproduct of it all, low oxygen absorption. Now they can do this through multiple operational ways. And some of the ways they do that here is, one, they make lung conditions and heart problems through environmental factors happen because of decrease of oxygen levels. And decrease of oxygen levels here, we're going to read just a little bit more because this is important. Because I'm telling you, in the future, it's going to be like, oh my God, air and carbon is the most important thing. Activated charcoal, make sure you keep that. I'll tell you right now, people are going to be selling it like a hot commodity. And all of the freaking satellites in the atmosphere operating at 60 HZ, they're causing this issue too as well. Check this out: heart problems, defects, heart failure, pulmonary embolism. Also, this causes sleep apnea, making you not be able to sleep. And I think only one time, I ain't gonna lie, like a pulsation, I was like, about to go to sleep, really freaking woke up, and I was like, oh my God, what was that? And it was like one time I had that situation happen. High altitude, at higher altitudes, the air contains less oxygen, leading to lower partial pressure of oxygen in the air. Well, what do? They use these machines, they suck it out of the air with Bill Gates and the rest of their family members, and they actually suck it underground. That's what they're doing right now. So when we look at this and we say, oh, why are young people, I looked at an article, why are young people in their 20s and 30s having strokes, having heart attacks, having all these situations happen? Now, oxygen absorption issues happening.
That's funny, boss.
In the atmosphere, can we start getting detectors? I have so many things that I would do if I get to the level to where I can do it. And I have the supportive community behind me to push the message to get us further to a more populace that's more aware. It is so many things that is simple to do that we can literally, I'll have detectors for our food supply so we can detect things right away. I would hire scientists literally to do all this stuff. I'm telling you, I have a massive plan I want to do, but only if I'm allowed to get to where I need to be through all of you. It's the only way I can freaking do this stuff, man. Like, you understand how really frustrated I am behind the scenes. I may come up here day by day, and I am calm, I'm composed, and that's my thing. I have to be. But you don't understand how deeply distraught I am when I report on these things. And it's not that I'm being zapped in my energy of it, it's because I know there's much more for us to do. And I don't want to hear the comments like, oh, you can't do anything and we just gotta wait to die and that's it and that's the storyline. I'm tired of hearing that comments. So again, if that's what you want to do though, but we all have a purpose, we have an obligation. And when we serve our brothers and sisters humbly in love, we can also achieve more things. You know, we didn't just come here to exist, die, work, sleep, crap. Oh my God, it's the same storyline. How can you not get bored with that? How can you not get bored with that? So, we're going to be back for more. We're going to be fighting about it more. Subscribe if you're in the warfare with us. You're consciously there. You're spiritually fighting it every single day you wake up. And when the attacks launch, we call it out. And when somebody in this community is under attack, guess what? We fight back with you. We got to do this. We got to stop falling back all the time and feeling like, oh, yeah, like, the government is watching. Duh, they're watching us. We already know that. But at this point, why does it even matter anymore? You don't have a civilization left almost. All that's almost gone. You see animals.
He's right there. Civilization's almost gone.
You see birds, and you see your animals acting weird, and you're worried about, oh, the government is still watching us, so we need to just be careful. That's all. 369 News says every MF day, bro. What's going on? Shell said, it's so sick of the things being pushed on us. I am too. I'm totally fed up. And I just know we got more power together. But when I speak of that, people get scared of togetherness. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to watch out for operatives. Don't worry, they'll always infiltrate communities, but you can easily weed them out. If they're always walking off somewhere. They're always getting on the phone, being secretive, doing some weird stuff. You can easily weed them out. People's intention psychologically is what the next phase of all this is going to be. When they already destroyed the pineal gland, the doctor said that the Italian pathologist, we don't get the news because it was somewhere in Italy where this news came out, where they destroyed.
Okay, guys, I'm out.
Destroyed the pineal gland. People in the comment section have already basically confirming this to me, saying, listen, I have family members who don't even act the same after they took the you know what the is.